Our gathering hymn is number 131. That's in the gray hymnal, or you can follow it on the big screen in the front or turn around and the little screen on the back. Please rise in body or spirit. Got to say that.
Welcome. I'm Janet Stevens, and I am going to be your celebrant today. There have been some last-minute changes to the lineup in today's service. Reverend Rick was indeed scheduled to speak today, so if you looked at the website or you were paying attention last week, yes, that was the original schedule. However, he is unable to be here. It's okay. He's okay. And he'll tell you more about that, no doubt, later. The Reverend Craig Moro, a longtime friend of Reverend Rick and of this congregation, has come to our rescue. He's agreed to come by and offer us directions to Albuquerque. Or not, I don't know. You'll just have to wait and see. So, thank you for your presence here today. Whether this is your first visit or if you've been here 100 million times, you are welcome. After the service, please stick around and come to the fellowship hall for conversation and coffee or tea or water or whatever you like, and treats. Welcome. We are a diverse group of proud, kindred spirits. We're here because we choose to journey together. We care deeply. We live and love and grow and learn and work as a community as best we can. I'd like to invite you to join me in speaking out loud our affirmation. Love is our doctrine. Compassion is our way. Here we seek to create a joyful home for free religious exploration, build a community of caring fellowship, nurture the hopes, and feed the needs of our world.
winter time is coming. The frost is on the ground. The ducks and geese fly overhead. Their wings are southward bound. The north wind in the branches makes a high and lonesome sound. And we're sitting, simply sitting out the winter. Oh, the crops have all been harvested. The jars stand in a line. There's plenty of grass and sassafras to last the winter time. There's a pile of wood in the corner and a jug of the sweetest wine. And we're sitting, simply sitting out the winter. Oh, looking out the window, I see snow upon the ground. It falls to earth so silently, it doesn't make a sound. It falls to earth so tenderly, its tracks cannot be found, like the tracks that form the starting of our friendship. Some of us sat here and watched the seasons as they changed, while some of us have had our lives completely rearranged. But none of us are restless, and it sure don't feel too strange to be sitting, simply sitting out the winter. Oh, the crops have all been harvested. The jars stand in a line. There's plenty of grass and sassafras to last the winter time. There's a pile of wood in the corner and a jug of the sweetest wine. And we're sitting, simply sitting out the winter.
It's our tradition here at UUCS to light 3 chalices each week when we start our service. The first chalice is for all the friends and members of UUCS, including those of you who are watching online. The second is for our partner church, which is in Simonfalva, Transylvania, Romania. I always like saying that. The third is for children and youth, both in our religious exploration program and all around the world. We light our chalices with the hope that today we will move toward greater understanding. Hope that we will emerge from our time together with gratitude for those who walk with us in our spiritual journey. Hope that this time together will encourage and enable us to move toward creating a better world. Please join me in singing The Flame into Life.
Oh, flame, by thy light glowing, show to us beauty, vision, and joy.
As you have maybe noticed, we do not have an LRE program at this Sunday. In other words, the kids are not leaving to go back to the LRE wing. There will be, I believe this will restart next week. However, the Cozy Corner is available, and that is a fun little place. If you could go just straight through the wall, it's right there in Hanneman Hall. And there's lots of fun toys and books, and there's a big screen TV that shows what's going on in here, so the caregiver can continue to watch what's going on, and the kids can run around and have fun without worrying about whether or not that interrupts anything. And kids are still welcome to stay here too. Please, please, kids, you're welcome here, no matter what your age. On October 28th, from 3 to 6 p.m., the parking lot out front is going to be one heck of a scary place. You are invited to sign up for a parking spot, to bring your decorated car, and share candy and treats with the kids of UUCS and from all over. My understanding is, and I have to be honest, I've never participated. My understanding is there are a lot of kids and adults and all kinds of scary ghouls and goblins that come on that night. So if you're interested in bringing your decorated car, or one that's not quite so decorated, and sharing candy with the kids, please go ahead and contact Molly. And if you need more information other than what's up there, we can help you with that after the service. Kids and parents are invited to join the LRE kids and others at Easy Orchards on Sunday, October 15th, where they're going to have a harvest fest. So if you're interested in doing that, the fee, I believe, is $10. And anything you want to bring for snacks. And I don't know if you've been there, but oh my gosh, they have the most wonderful pumpkin donuts and other things. So I encourage you to go ahead and participate in that if you can. So, of all the gifts, all the skills, and all the superpowers ever imagined, none is greater than compassion and gratitude. In spite of what some folks think, compassion isn't weakness. It takes incredible strength. It requires constant practice. It means putting others first, including those who offend, those who take without giving, those whose words make your heart swim, your heart ache, and your brain swim. Yes, them. Compassion is seeing beyond deeds and words. It is treating all people, everyone, with respect and dignity, no exceptions. And by taking the chance to truly see others, see the beauty in them, we may be granted the blessing of seeing the world in a new way, finding a new friend, a fellow seeker for whom we can be truly grateful. With compassion and gratitude comes a greater understanding of ourselves and consequently of those who share this quirky, unpredictable, and sometimes downright weird journey we call life.
Good morning. I'm Eric Schumann from Lifeline's Lay Ministry, and I would like to share our candles of joys and sorrows from this morning. These include the joys and sorrows that were recorded in the book, which is in the foyer each Sunday, and also those submitted online. And there was one concern submitted online this morning from Margie Sharp. Please send positive healing thoughts to my brother Hans, who is having surgery tomorrow to remove a cancerous growth. We have two other concerns, both about the same topic, understandably. The first is from Bob and Leslie Zeigen, who have family in Israel, including a sister-in-law, a niece, and two nephews, of course, with regard to the war which has just started with Hamas. And another one from Becky Harrison, who also has family in Palestine. Please pray for them all. They also have very dear friends in Nablus. We have no joys to share this morning. I also want to light one candle for all of those concerns, sorrows, and joys that are in our hearts but not expressed. Lifeline's lay ministry, which most of you know of, is a committee that's composed of folks just like you from the congregation, members, who can be identified by these lavender badges and sometimes by these green ribbons. We may have some more substantial things like stoles in the future. And you can reach us at the email address that's on the screen behind me, or you can visit with us either by identifying a lavender badge that someone has after the service, or at the Lifelines table, which is on your left as you walk into the fellowship hall for coffee and conversation after the service. So we're here for you. We're here to give a listening ear, a supportive ear, and to be there for members of the congregation to extend Rick's ministry. And the other way that we do that once a month is through something called Compassionate Connections, which is this morning. So right after the service, members of Lifelines will gather up here at the front of the sanctuary to give support to anyone who feels the need to have support from other caring folks in the congregation. So thank you for submitting joys and concerns, for being a part of the ministry of this congregation, because it is a shared ministry among the members and between the members and the minister. So thank you.
I am here for the greater good of all, the greater good of all, the greater good of all. I am here for the greater good of all, the greater good of all. You are here for the greater good of all, the greater good of all, the greater good of all. You are here for the greater good of all, the greater good of all. We are here for the greater good of all, the greater good of all, the greater good of all. We are here for the greater good of all, the greater good of all.
Oh, good morning. Oh my, we're really in the sun. I don't think I've ever had the sun beaming directly on my manuscript before, but I have to talk away from the manuscript a little bit. About 22 years ago, I was all set with a kind of upbeat and joyous sermon, and I noticed that the affirmation of this congregation is we are here for joy, right? something that can slip away if we don't pay attention. It was then September 11th happened, and I knew that I couldn't do exactly the sermon that I had planned. So this morning I was thinking I would probably need to say something about what's happening in Israel and Gaza and the West Bank, but it's already been said. So thank you, and just acknowledging that there are people here with very close connections to folks both in Israel and in the Palestinian territories. So, okay, but let's move on, hopefully toward joy. Well, those who take the time to actually read the Bible, instead of making a big deal about it, find many kinds of stories in it. Genesis 14 is a battlefield scene that features Abraham leading his band of 318 men to defeat the large assembled armies of half a dozen kings, as if they were a team of Marvel superheroes. It doesn't seem to fit with the other Abraham stories that show him traveling and camping with various relatives and various cattle and sheep. Maybe someone long ago had yelled, "Enough with the little tent in the desert stories. Give us an adventure story with this guy," as if Abraham was a favorite star like Matt Damon, and people wanted to see him in other roles. We also find in the Bible that hot erotic dalliance called the Song of Solomon or the Song of Songs, but there's more canoodling than singing. Slow, sensuous, detailed descriptions of male and female bodies, cheeks, necks, breasts, teeth, wet lips, wet feet, wet fingers. Some say it's all a metaphor for the soul longing to be united with God, but I say if you read it, better bring a towel. The grape blossoms have opened and the pomegranates are in bloom. Get ready to climb the palm trees and lay hold of its branches and then go for that sweet fruit. Know what I mean? So we've got hard action, hot action, and look here. There's even a cartoon. I'm not kidding. Here's how it starts. Now the word of the Lord came to Jonah, the son of Amittai, saying, "Arise, go to Nineveh, that great city, and cry out against it, for their wickedness has risen up to my face." So Jonah rose and fled toward Tarshish from the presence of the Lord. He went down to Joppa and happened to meet a ship going to Tarshish. So he paid the fare and went on board to go with them to Tarshish, away from the face of the Lord. Just like in a good Looney Tune, we don't have to wait too long for the comic action to start. But we do need to pause for a moment while I explain the situation so far. God tells Jonah to go to Nineveh to raise a ruckus about all the bad stuff its people have been doing. Nineveh was near today's city of Kirkuk in northern Iraq. So what does Jonah do? He heads right down to the port of Joppa on the Mediterranean coast in today's Israel and books passage on a ship bound for Tarshish, as we hear 3 times in 2 lines. Tarshish was near today's Gibraltar, way in southern Spain. So Jonah makes a wrong turn and tries to go as far as possible in the opposite direction from where God has sent him, to the other side of what was the known world at the time. And that's just the start. There's a lot more to come before we can say, that's all, folks. As he heads west towards Tarshish instead of east towards Nineveh like he was told to do, things really start to go south for Jonah. Hardly has his ship set sail when God sends a mighty wind against it. The sailors throw overboard whatever they can to lighten the groaning vessel. Like on many ships today, it's an international crew, and the men call out to their various gods, but still the tempest rages. The captain goes below the deck to look for more things to toss, and what should he find but Jonah, fast asleep and snoring? He shakes him and says, "What's up, snorer? Rise and call out to your God. Perhaps the God will take notice of us and we will not perish." Now each man said to his companion, "Let's cast lots. Then we will know on whose account this evil is upon us." So they cast lots, and the lot fell to Jonah. Jonah comes clean and tells them that he's a Hebrew running away from his own God. They ask then, "What should we do with you?" "It's all my fault," he says, "so they should pick him up and throw him into the sea." Instead, they try rowing hard back to land. But finally they decide, what the heck, let's throw him in and hope it works. Sploosh. There he goes. The storm stops at once as a great fish comes and swallows Jonah. Oh. Now there's a cartoon situation, if there ever was one. Jonah's now in the belly of the fish. After 3 days and nights digesting his situation, he starts praying like anyone might do. He ends his prayer with a promise. "I, in a voice of thanksgiving song, will sacrifice to you. That which I vow I will bring to completion. Deliverance belongs to the Lord." So the Lord spoke to the fish, and it vomited Jonah upon the dry land. Look, he's right back where he started from, where he now gets another chance to do what he should have done in the first place. You can almost hear Bugs Bunny's voice saying, "I knew I should have taken that left turn at Albuquerque." But instead we hear the voice of the Lord again. "Arise, go to Nineveh, that great city, and proclaim to it the message that I tell you." He coaxes Jonah, "Don't worry, I'll provide you with the right words to say." Well, Jonah did make that promise from the belly of the fish, so this time he agrees to go, though still reluctantly, as we'll see. Nineveh is so big that it takes 3 days to cross on foot. Jonah walks in for a day, not quite to the middle, and delivers his message. "Yet 40 days and Nineveh shall be overthrown." Not much of a message, but somehow it does the trick. The people of Nineveh believed God. They proclaimed a fast and put on sackcloth, from the greatest of them to the least of them. Then tidings reached the king of Nineveh, and he rose from his throne, removed his robe, and covered himself with sackcloth, and sat in ashes. And he had it proclaimed throughout Nineveh, "Let neither man nor beast, herd nor flock taste anything. Let them not feed or drink water, but let man and beast be covered with sackcloth, and let them cry mightily to God. Yea, let every one turn from his evil way." When God saw what they did, how they turned from their evil way, God repented of the evil he had said he would do to them, and he did not do it. Did you notice that bit about even the animals wearing sackcloth and ashes? I wish I could draw well enough to do a cartoon with cowering cows and shamefaced sheep. But the extraordinary thing here is how the king and all the people get the message and respond at once. Usually in the Bible, we hear God kvetching when the people seem to be deaf to the divine message. "I've told you, and now I'm going to let you have it," sounding like Elmer Fudd or Yosemite Sam, but not this time. The people get it. No punishment is necessary. Oh, hallelujah, right? For Jonah, it's more like, oh, hell. He's not at all happy. All this displeased Jonah, a great displeasure. Now I'm dealing with my own translation from the book of Jonah. "Oh, please, Lord, isn't this just what I said would happen when I was still in my own country? It's on account of this that I first tried to run away to Tarshish, for I knew that you were compassionate, slow to anger, and consoling to the wicked. So now, Lord, please take my breath from me so that I die dyingly from my life." Hebrew emphasizes things by doubling up like this: to die dyingly, to kill killingly, or just to displease someone with great displeasure. It turns out that Jonah didn't want to go to Nineveh, not out of fear that the people wouldn't repent, but because he was afraid that they would. They weren't Hebrews or Jews. They didn't speak Jonah's language or worship in the name of Jonah's God. He'd been hoping for them to be destroyed, but now God has gone and ruined everything with all that damned compassion. Jonah was happy to get a second chance for himself. But why should God give amnesty to the Ninevites? Whatever happened to that good old Elmer Fudd of a God who destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah? Like many of us, Jonah longs for a God who comes equipped with a shotgun and a hunting cap, who'll put a finger to his lips and say, "Be very quiet, I'm hunting sinners." He'll get those wascally wabbits while we sit back righteously and enjoy the show. Well, like Jonah, I often feel angry at the world. If you were to see my face and ask, "What's up, Doc?" I'd have to admit that it's the Elmer Fudd inside of me, bubbling up to the surface. There's so much that gets my Fudd up. I see people ignoring social and environmental problems, buying things they don't need and can't afford, voting against their own best interests, and so on. A typical liberal list, I guess. Religious conservatives have their own, just as long or longer. No matter your persuasion, what starts out as a wish to make folks better than they are can move into a gloomy view that the world would be better off without them. You might remember Marvin the Martian, who's always planning to blow up the Earth because it blocks his view of Venus. Aliens always do that, don't they? Aliens mess up your perfect worldview. So when Bugs Bunny foils his plans to destroy them, Marvin says, "That makes me very angry indeed." But that's not something that you want to share with someone like Bugs Bunny. Now he really knows what bugs you. It's the same with God and Jonah. After seeing how angry Jonah is, God asks, "Does this anger do you any good?" Of course, that makes him very angry indeed. But he's not giving up, not yet. So Jonah went out of the city and made a hut for himself, and he sat in it, waiting to see what would become of the city. If he was a kid, he might sit under the table. Marvin the Martian has a great line that he uses just before discovering that Bugs Bunny has disabled his doomsday weapon that's aimed at Earth. "Where's the kaboom? There's supposed to be an earth-shattering kaboom." Same with Jonah, camped outside of town where he's still waiting for the kaboom to blow the place to smithereens. He starts to fume when it doesn't, and now God really starts to tease him. Now the Lord God conjured a plant and made it come up over Jonah as a shade over his head to protect him from misery. And Jonah was glad with a great gladness because of the plant. No one is quite sure what this plant was, a kind of squash maybe, or something with big leaves. The Hebrew name is ikayun, which we'd spell with two Q's, making it the only other word with two Q's that I know of besides Albuquerque. You know, as in, I should have made that left turn at Albuquerque. But when God came up the next day, God conjured a worm, which attacked the kikayon so that it withered. When the sun rose, God conjured a sultry wind, and the sun beat on Jonah's head, so he was overwhelmed, and he said, "It's better for me to die than to live." So God said to Jonah, "Do you do well to be angry for the plant?" He said, "I do well to be angry enough to die." Jonah sure has got his Fudd up now. What with the plant and the worm and the sun and the city full of sinners still standing, no kaboom yet, and now it looks like never. You can imagine how a cartoonist would depict his hot head, red and getting redder, swelling till it's fit to burst. But what does God say? Pretty much what Bugs Bunny would. "What's up, Doc? Is this all about the plant?" Did you ever wonder why Bugs calls people Doc? Some people think it's because one of the chief Looney Tunes animators, Tex Avery, came from guess where? Texas, where Doc was almost as common a nickname as Tex. Bugs was a common nickname in New York. More on that in a moment. But for now, let's think some more about why the question, "What's up, Doc?" can be so effective. When he calls people to the question by calling them Doc, isn't Bugs suggesting that they have within themselves the power to make things better? To bring whatever is up down to a level where it won't feel so overwhelming, to doctor themselves so they won't feel so angry that they want everything to go kaboom or else die dyingly themselves. Or maybe we could say that Bugs is here to lighten things up, to lift us to the level of whatever it is that's up and maybe get over it. This adds a whole new dimension to the idea of making a wrong turn or a right one, or of making a wrong turn right. A vertical dimension. Let it pass, or try to rise above it, Doc. Don't take yourself so seriously. American cartoons have spread around the world, from Nineveh to Tarshish and beyond, some of our most beloved exports. And Bugs may be the quintessential hybrid American. Some say he's an offshoot of Brer Rabbit, derived from Native American and African trickster gods who take the shape of a hare. Many have commented on how Jewish Bugs is with his Bronx, Brooklyn accent, and even the name Bugs, Old New York slang for crazy. And what is Elmer Fudd if not a grouchy little Anglo-Protestant? Self-righteous, angry, rigid, and frustrated, hating joy and even simple pleasure. He's also sexually repressed, or a bit confused, and falls easily for the charms of Bugs Bunny, cross-dressed to resemble Carmen Miranda or Marlene Dietrich. Bugs first uses his famous line about he should have made a left point at Albuquerque when he pops up by mistake in Germany's Black Forest in the 1945 short Herr versus Hare. There he's hunted by Hermann Goering, the founder of the Gestapo, filling in for Elmer Fudd and behaving like him too. Goering is remembered for explaining to the court at the Nuremberg trials that, quote, the people can always be brought to the bidding of the leaders. That is easy. All you have to do is tell them they're being attacked and denounce the peacemakers for a lack of patriotism and exposing the country to danger. It works the same in any country. Even this country. When leaders work the crowd to make us get our FUD up. Those aliens aren't just messing up your worldview, they're attacking you. Well, let's get back to Jonah. Poor little hothead needs attention, and he must be angry at us now for ignoring him for so long. We left him steaming in anger and frustration when there was no earth-shattering kaboom, and God spared Nineveh. Now he splutters that, I do well to be very, very angry. Or I should say, I do well to be angry, angry enough to die. Now the Lord said, you feel sorry for the plant for which you did not labor, nor did you make it grow, and which came into being in a night and perished in a night? And should I not feel sorry for Nineveh, in which there are more than 120,000 persons who do not know their right hand from their left, and also much cattle? You remember those cowering cows and sheepish sheep dressed in sackcloth and ashes? God runs the cartoon back a few frames so Jonah can see himself if he will only look. It's one more chance to stop and ponder, what's up, Doc? Look at all these living creatures and ask yourself what good your anger does. Why be disappointed that I spared them all? Can't you feel happy that a new day has dawned for them? Can't one dawn for you as well? Poor Jonah. He's in love with his own anger, or addicted to it. Maybe that's a better word for when the pleasure's gone, but you can't stop. Same with booze as it is for anger. God doesn't want a God like the God in this story, compassionate, gracious, even playful. He wants a God who's just like Jonah, fit to die of rage unless someone gets it and something goes kaboom. The God so many of us think we'd be if we were God. Oh well, the story wouldn't be half as fun if Jonah changed, just like Looney Tunes would be no fun if Elmer Fudd ever learned his lesson. But it's still fun to imagine what it would be like if God ran the cartoon way, way back, almost to the beginning, where we find Jonah snoring on his cot in the ship's hold. As the captain shakes him, he wakes to find it's all been a dream. The giant fish, the giant plant, the giant disappointment that Nineveh's still standing after no big giant kaboom. He's still there on that ship, crewed by all the people of the world with their many languages and faiths. But the giant storm still rages. And now what's he to do? He's got arms and legs. He can go up and help turn the ship around. He's also got a message to deliver about turning the world around. What should he do with that? What would you do? Please go do it. Rise above your anger, Doc, and go give it a try. Do what you can with your arms, your legs, and your voices. Then come back here to replenish whatever you've given to the storms out there. Come back here for that joy. That's what this ship is here for. That's what this ship is here for. And that's all, folks. No, wait, there's something missing. What is it? I think you know it starts, I want you to sing with me. Da 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 da. Okay, so now that's all, folks.
That was great. Please join me for a few minutes of, well, maybe a few moments anyway, of reflection and meditation. You might want to close your eyes or sit back in your chair, your choice, only if it's comfortable for you. Let's take a deep breath and let it out. Another. Another. Go ahead and repeat that a few times at your own pace. I'll ring the bell to bring us back together. We, and those who came before us, built this meeting place and the ministries it offers with our hands and our hearts and through our financial support. Like any family business or community, it is a living, breathing entity and needs constant support and renewal. It's our custom to share our blessings with others in our community. We support the Marion Polk Food Share through donations which can be placed in the wagon that's been brought to the front of the sanctuary. This month, our Share the Plate program. Through that, we are supporting Salem refugees who help our newest neighbors to thrive through placement, advocacy and awareness, and extended case management. Your generosity is needed, it is appreciated, and it is a blessing. Donations may be made in the baskets passed through the congregation, or by going online to uusalem.org and following the prompts. Thank you very much for your generosity.
So during one of the kabooms, the mic stand fell over. So thank you for your enthusiasm, Reverend Craig. It only took us 20 minutes to place it. Reverend Craig, thank you so much for filling in for Reverend Rick, who is going to talk about the shape of my soul. And so I was going to sing No Hole in My Head. However, I don't have a song about Bugs Bunny, and we already sang it, so I'm still going to sing No Hole in My Head. And you're welcome to join. When I get to the end of the song, when I start playing the conga, you're welcome to join in on the last refrain, and you're welcome to get as wild as you would like. How's the guitar mic? Is it okay? Everybody thinks my head's full of nothing, wants to put their own special stuff in, fill the space with candy wrappers, keep out sex and revolution, but there's no hole in my head. Too bad. They call me a dupe of this and the other. They call me a puppet on a string. They don't know my head's full of me and that I have my own special thing, and there's no hole in my head. Too bad. I have lived since early childhood, figuring out what's going on. I know what hurts, I know what's easy, when to stand and when to run, and there's no hole in my head. So please stop shouting in my ear. There's something I want to listen to. There's a kind of bird song up somewhere. There's feet walking the way I wanna go, and there's no hole in my head. Everybody thinks my head's full of nothing, wants to put their own special stuff in, fill the space with candy wrappers, keep out sex and revolution, but there's no hole in my head. Too bad. No hole in my head, too bad. There's no hole in my head, too bad. There's no hole in my head, too bad. There's no hole in my head. There's no hole in my head, too bad. There's no hole in my head. No hole in my head. No, 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 no hole in my head, too bad. There's 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 no hole in my head.
So, next Sunday, we have one of our homilists speaking, Bob Muir, and the theme is Me or We. Okay, I don't see him, so I can't give you anything more than that. We'll just see what happens because we seem to be getting good at that. Okay, don't forget that next Sunday you can meet with the board, ask questions, and get some answers as best they can, or at least start a conversation. Sometimes it's not about getting answers, it's about saying, here's something we would like to get some more information about. So I really encourage you, having been a board member, I think a lot of you have been board members in the past, but it's so great to hear from the congregation because the board is there they're there to serve you, and you are the important people more than not just the board, so you really do need to share your information and find out what's going on from them. Okay, there is so much going on here. I can't tell you how many times I drop by during the week, and it's crazy what's going on here. So to get more information, these are all different ways you can do it. If you're not getting the newsletter or the Friday updates, please call the office, let them know. They're happy to add you to the list, whatever it is they use to send it out. But there's a lot going on, and there's going to be something for you. So I encourage you to get involved. Now it's time to light our social justice lantern as we do each week, and I'm going to invite Reverend Craig to bring it forward. Each week we light this candle from the flame of our community chalice. And this is to symbolize and recognize the ways that you, the members of UUCS, take the light out into the world and share your gifts. As we extinguish the chalices that we lit at the beginning of this service, I want to remind you that you are the real chalices of this congregation. I hope you will tend your flames and share the warmth and light of your flames with others until we meet here again.
Our closing hymn is number 123, Spirit of Life. We'll sing it through 2 times. Please rise in body or spirit, and you can find it in the gray hymnal or on the screen up front. Spirit of life, come unto me, sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion, snow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of joy.
Well, the Jewish high holidays begin with Rosh Hashanah, the head of the year or New Year's Day. They end with Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement. It's a day of fasting and prayer devoted to the theme of teshuvah, or return to the right path, the right direction, even if this means retracing our steps all the way back from Tarshish or even Albuquerque, so we can make that left turn right this time. On Yom Kippur, there's a service where one of the books of the Bible is read in its entirety and reflected on frame by frame. Can you guess what book it is? Here's a hint, Doc. It's got a very big fish, a very angry man, and a plant that grows really fast, like in a cartoon. The service is called the Mincha, which means offering. It's a great chance to offer up your anger and receive laughter in return. Laughter, that marvelous mingling of body and breath and sound and meaning, one tumbling over each other, each offered up to all. An amazing experience. One of the greatest gifts we can ever know. Blessed be. Now on with the show. This is it. May faith in the spirit of life, hope for the community of earth, and love for the sacred in one another be ours now and in all the days to come. Blessed be. Blessed be.